Still setting up, folks. Just checking on stuff. How's that sound wise? Bit quiet? So, good afternoon, folks. Sorry about the delay. Oh, I'm on a hot streak at the minute. I'll entertain you with that one once we've waved this Jet 2 off. On the upside, it does seem that everywhere I go at the minute, the sun is shining. As you can see, a bit hazy at the far end of the track. At least we've got reverse ops. Right, I think we've got a moment to open the show properly, so I'm just going to rest the camera there for a jiff. Suppose I better check, hadn't I, that we haven't got anything about to swoop over my shoulder. I think we're okay. How are we all doing? Really sorry about the late start. It's just, well, let me cover that now, otherwise I'll forget. And you notice I've got my sound back now. So long story short, after all the drama of Dusseldorf, great show, but obviously, as I've said in the community posts, I had a bit of trouble going through security with my power banks. Anyway, long story short, usually when I get back home, I put everything back into shipshape order for the next stream. But because we've got the issue with the power banks and the swap out with the encoder, and me feeling a bit bruised from what had happened at Dusseldorf, never happened. I sworn I didn't see something imminent on flight radar, but hey ho. Anyway, this was my meal culpa moment, so I'll be really quick. Anyway, long story short, I got here, start setting up, and discovered the camera had still got the travel tripod's mount on it. Usually in England they both travel together in the camcorder bag. Travelling abroad, weight is king. Put it in the box, figured I'd put it all right on Monday, but I was too busy trying to get my bottom lip off the carpet for any of that. So anywho, I'll get back to the right side. Lovely to see you all. So catching up with the chat, Bislandia, good afternoon to you. I've just realised I need my glasses, not my sunglasses. Sorry, I stepped away from the mic. Talk about making it up as you go along. Right, got my specs on, that's better. Like a mole sort of squinting in the daylight. Bislandia, Ben and Jerry's vegan in the freezer. But you shouldn't have it for today. Could be a good moment now. Have it for me. Ken Alloway, how you doing, buddy? Hope all is good. Just going to bring the zoom in on some planes. Could be a good idea. Alibi 58, how are you doing? Zooming on down. Andy P, how you doing, bud? Les Donaldson. Les, I'm guessing you're finished for the day. Feet up, exactly as it should be. Deborah Speller, good afternoon. Deborah, how goes it? How's the redecoration going? Scaffold still up? Nell, cheer, were mods in the chat. Nell, I hope you're having a great weekend. Nell, you might arrive an hour early or late. I seem to be majoring on the late. No idea how I'm doing that. Yeah, the main thing was, Vislandia, I didn't get taken into one of those side rooms where they continue the search at a more forensic level. There's always an upside. Always an upside. Right, we might as well track this Jet 2 737, which is on its way to Rhodes, which is where I had my honeymoon many years ago. 35 years this September actually. Ixia, anyone who knows it. It was that one of those summers, not the only one, where they had a proper heat wave, you know, the one that kind of kills people if they don't keep hydrated. But we had a lovely time. I still didn't come back any browner than if I've been Blackpool for 2 weeks. You know, that cycle of sunburn, a little bit of tan, turns white within the month. That'd be me. Anyway, the good thing is, stay with the positives, is this is our new encoder. So I had swapped out my encoder in the week. Veterans of the show will know that we had a sound issue where I wasn't able to monitor my own sound levels. Long story short, that wasn't satisfactory either. So to be fair, Wex Photographic were really good about it, but I got a refund and I've taken my business elsewhere. And whilst it was possible that we might have taken delivery yesterday afternoon, I genuinely wasn't expecting it on a bank holiday weekend. So, good stuff. So we are now streaming with a new box. It's the same kit as before, except it does everything it says it's supposed to do. Andy Pete, keeping well, although a little bit lathered from the excitement of hightailing it back home. It's about an hour's round trip. But you know what, entirely self-inflicted. Actually, the plane that you're looking at is the Tenerife one, the Rhodes one, I've just realised. It's actually pushing back. Anyway, Tenerife code. Back to the chat. David Jordan, welcome to Plain Sailing Aviation, David. Hope you are keeping well. There we go. Ken says 3 departures pinging just now, 2 for Tenerife and 1 for Rhodes. I think Rhodes might be the one in between. Can't have too much Tenerife, can you really? Deborah, excellent news. Looks like you aced the weather then to get externals done. I'm chuffed for you. UK Heroes. Well, I've met you before in the chat. How you doing, my friend? Just down the road in Blythe. Josh Scott, good afternoon, Josh. Just me. Eddie's got something on this afternoon, so you'll just have to make do with my dulcet tones. Hope you're doing good. Certainly the bank holiday weekend in the northeast of England has delivered. Peter Hall, welcome to the show, my friend. I hope you're keeping well. Layla Bergman, how you doing, Layla? What's it doing in Sweden? Are you basking in this kind of weather? It's not 20 degrees, so it's not proper t-shirt territory. I've not done a weather roundup because obviously being a pop-up, limited time window. But that's 16 degrees on the car thermometer when I pulled up. Probably 2 of those degrees were me sweating like the proverbial pig. Melody, how you doing? Lady Robertstad. Robertstad? We have nobility in the house. Anyway, thanks folks for supporting me. But we just need to get out there and check the kit all does what it says on the tin. I've had enough of kit related issues. Up and away. I do love that glint of sun on the wings. Lovely flourish. Tell you what, when I was setting up, a biplane came in, and before Ken or Alibi say something from my era, which I would dispute hotly, it was quite nice. Political bias, how you doing? Grey in Sweden, Layla says. Grey in Alnwick. Well, you're not far up the track, and I'm still seeing plenty of blue here, as you can perceive from the shot. Ooh. That would be a sin, wouldn't it, if it turns out to rain? I've really travelled light today. I'm determined to learn all the lessons about preparation. Oh, David, these planes are bearing your way, are they? Excellent. Yeah, a biplane political. It was a pretty swanky looking one as well, you know, like the kind of one that a display team might operate. Came in on its own. Ewan, how are you doing, mate? Oops, got to push back. Jet 2 are tripping over themselves to hog the shot. So the one that you see pushing back is a Gran Canaria bound flight. I thought I'd better just kind of line them up in terms of what the flight radar image is on the camera. And the Rhodes flight is the one that you see further out of the shot, about there. So David, which part of the county are you living in? And what's your preference as a resident? Takeoffs or landings? Political, very much Biggles. I thought to myself, bugger. I mean, there was no, oh, pardon my profanity on air, YouTube. But seriously, I mean, it was no chance of catching that even within the original start time. But I thought, what an ace thing that was. I was so gobsmacked I couldn't even reach to take a picture of it. Pushback continues. That must mean they're letting Rhodes through. Don't know if folks are in the news at the minute. Looks like we've got a Chewy trundling along behind, which is also Tenerife. Obviously all that E-gate chaos yesterday. Has there been a day 2 of E-gate chaos? I really haven't been in front of the news at all. Down my allotment for chunks of this morning. On the garden for a bit, not sunbathing, just not quite in that space. Dandy Chickens, that's an unusual handle. Dandy, delighted to meet you, all the way out there in Gulfport, Mississippi. Thumbs up at this end, Andy. Deborah, whereabouts near Heathrow was it for you, out of curiosity? My grandparents used to live at Hatton Bedfont, that kind of territory, just round the corner from Myrtle Avenue. I always think it's a small world. amazing how the sounds of tranquility return so swiftly once the sound of the engines drops. I fancy Chewy is going to be next. Their Tenerifico flight. There we are, 737. Just appreciated it's a Max 8 as well. Ah, Deborah, Beaconsfield and High Wycombe. I had an uncle that lived at High Wycombe. Are you still in that part of the world now, or are you further afield? Yeah, I'm just laughing in the chat. David Jordan, you're right, mate, it'd be a lovely flourish if we had the 380, but the runway will not do it here. It's a shame. To be honest, I'll keep the 777 all day, every day. Maybe give us a second daily flight, or maybe it's a Saudi Dreamliner or something. If the 380 is going to roll out anywhere else, I think Edinburgh would be fantastic. Although again, I'm not sure on the runway length there either, vis-a-vis whether that's viable. So, welcome to Plain Sailing Aviation, folks, and our test stream. So I was covering a bit of that earlier on when I was making my apologies for the late start. So this is just to check the kit works. We've got a new piece of hardware, a new encoder, which is a straight swap out with a different supplier, admittedly. Looks like Rhodes is back on the menu. So it's a case really of get ourselves down to the airport, check it all works, the sun's shining, there was a decent concentration of movements, and rather than do it in private, I thought it'd be more fun to do it in company. Can't beat hanging out with friends, can you? Ah, you're in Shropshire now, Deborah, and miss home very much. Well, when I was last at Heathrow, I always walk round to my grandparents' house, always at Political Bias, and I talk about this in the chat, going back in time, and that's the time I'd love to go back to as a kid, watching the planes in their back garden. Air France in Graham. No. Chile and Tenerife win the day. I know generally this conversation's cropped up in the chat before because it is an interesting one. Must be a bit too exciting for yours truly. If they extend the runway here, as I'm fond of saying, they've got the 2035 expansion plan gives them the 700 metre option. No, ignore me. Having been in a rush to set up, I've just not got my ear into the acoustics. So you're looking at a 737 Max 8 off to Tenerife. Digit Jumbo, my friend from Dusseldorf. How you doing, buddy? Welcome to my home patch, Newcastle Airport. Just spotted your entry into the chat. So for folks who might not know, Digit must live in Dusseldorf. It stood to my right last Sunday when I was streaming from Dusseldorf Airport, top of car park 7. And is now the current record holder for being the closest to me during a stream, unobserved, me not knowing who you are kind of thing. Yeah, when you say, where are you from? And Digit says, 6 foot to your right. You get the picture. Anyway, Digit, welcome to Newcastle. Tony McCall. Leave it jumpy on the video. That could be all operator error. Although I'll have a look as the traffic eases down, because you've got the other variables of signal, but we're running two sims, so. But the camera operator has definitely been all over the place. Ah, right. I've just seen some of the other messaging. Just bear with me then. Let's just see what's not happening. Yeah, I've got the message, folks, about glitchiness. I'm hoping that. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, whether that was something transient and local. I think the nature of today's show, if we drift towards needing a reboot, I'll just bring it to an earlier close and do an autopsy once I shut it down. Of course, it could be something completely disconnected from here, but everything at this end seems to be pumping at the right tempo. The only thing I didn't do initially was that front end speed test in case there was any variability. We've got a nice little turboprop tiddler. Chance to get those emojis twirling. So, I'm just going to rest the camera for a second, have a quick peek in the chat. Beach King to Leeds. I wonder, looking at Tony McCall's comments, I'm not standing in quite my usual place today, so I was a little bit closer to the flight path. So I wonder if that creates anything in terms of stability issue. I'll have to watch that one. See, afterwards I'm able to download what my speed history was, so I'll have a look. What time are we at? Oh, about 10 past 4, weren't it? Air France coming. Alibi says Ryanair from Tenerife on finals. Roger that, buddy. Be interesting if we get another wibble. We'll wait for our beach. Our beach king. David Jordan, I'm not sure. I have seen the Bombardier Global 6000 fairly regular. Looking at the chats, here we go. Deborah, Layla, Nell W, all ready on the old emojis. Looks like it's going to have to sit tight though. No, he's going. Probably hear the pitch picking up. Although obviously the frame speed is making it look somewhat more pedestrian. Yeah, he's waiting. I've just got us pointed ready. Get out of that shot. Check not buffering on me. That's interesting, David Jordan. I wonder who their regulars are. Football club executives? Resident Rounds, hello my friend, I responded to your comment, didn't I? You were on the A350, the Finnair. One of those planes I absolutely love anyway, but in Finnair livery, God, right up there. Anyway, Resident Rounds, welcome to Plain Sailing Aviation. I'm Mark, your host. Yeah, just look at Tony McCall's comment, that's a possibility I suppose as well. Anyway, all good. Well, is somebody else on finals, I ask myself? Definitely no urgency. And of course the $24 million question is it going to start moving the minute I take my eye off it? Ken Alloway, you've been out of the show for a while, haven't you, with your civic duties? But I tell you what, you're straight at the top of the leaderboard with the gags, straight out of thin air. It's moments like this, Simon Kirby, if you're in the Lurkers Lounge, you've got to join in the chat. Or I suppose you're probably in with the football. But there you go, straight out the top drawer. Ooh, business upgrade on a Finnair 350. I'll tell you what, that is living my dream. Well, on more than one level if you think about it. I've only ever flown economy anyway, having been important enough to be sent anywhere business or first class for work purposes, and too stingy to pay for it thus far. I can imagine that was ace. Just remind me, Resident Rounds, where were you actually going? This Beach King really is holding some time. This rate or not, it's sort of been holding for as long as it is in the air. Windsock showing a reasonable flourish. It's a steady breeze, but it's not onerous. As you can probably tell, we've weathered worse. No rush here, is there? With this with KLM, it'd be parked up. Helsinki. Do you know what? Folks might say I'm a bit naive, but Amsterdam to Helsinki, that seems a hell of a sized plane. Was it full? Or pretty full? All I know is it made my heart skip a beat on the day. I'm just reading here that you missed your connecting flight. That always sucks without fail, doesn't it? I mean, I'll let Ken tell the story. It's his to tell, but his Canadian visitors had a hell of a connecting flight issue, didn't they, Ken? So Leeds, here we come. Hope those emojis are twirling away with equal fervour in the chat. Might get a bit hazy as we start to track it. Got to be honest, if I were going to Leeds and had the budget, that's the way I'd do it. When I was heading back this way, A1 was starting to look a bit sticky. So we've got a runway check ongoing. Tazzing along. Shades on. Miami Vice pumping out the sound system. Those of you who remember Miami Vice will know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, it's probably worth putting it into YouTube. The soundtrack to Miami Vice is what I'm talking about here. Alibi, I am watchful for that KLM on finals. Sound of the blinking metro train just gave me a false start there. So that being a 737, I'm guessing. Yep, 737-800. So just shooting the breeze from last week's jaunt. Both airports, absolutely fantastic. In terms of flights, and bearing in mind they are different airlines, I appreciate, although the ticket prices weren't massively different, KLM was the absolute winner. I mean, they were both comfortable flights, but if you say which one did I enjoy the most, it was undoubtedly KLM, and it was nothing to do with that coconut macaroon. As I think I've said, certainly on the Facebook page, I'm not really much on coconut anything. That was pretty tasty. Oh, here we go, lots of people blinking in the daylight. Mad Matt, how you doing, mate? Just spotted your entry into the chat. Ken Alloway has gifted a membership. Ken? He's a fantastic friend to the channel, and what more can I say, Ken? Awesome buddy. Next question is, who's the lucky winner? Arthur Clark. Arthur Clark, I hadn't spotted your entry into the chat, so I do apologise for that, Arthur. Welcome to Plain Sailing Aviation and Mark. Ace team in the chat. Ken Alloway, Alibi 58, and LW, and everybody else, well, they're just great company, and now you're in that company. I'm just looking at Vislandia's horror story. Yeah, that doesn't look any fun whatsoever. Tony McCall, top tip, buddy. I'm going to pencil that in. In fact, let's just make a note of that now. June's a good month, isn't it, for Edinburgh? There's a lot of good things out. And we'll try and bring as much of it as we can for you. This KLM is treading water. I'm just trying to toggle flight radar to give me a clue. I haven't stood in exactly this position before, therefore I always moan about this, don't I? When it's reverse ops, you are looking towards the hedge. Well, bases are loaded, as I say. Yeah, the rate of climb on that Beach King, David Jordan, it doesn't surprise me that by the time it reached your part of the world it was well on the way. Oop. For something different, you know, as it was a test, I was going to go further back than this. There's another spot a bit further back, 300 metres probably as a crow flies. Trouble is, you don't get the same airport proximity and on a hazy day and all that, but for a different perspective, I might go and shoot a little bit of feature footage, an arrival or two, to show in a lull on a future Saturday show, just so you can see it for yourselves. Just different. Yeah, Tony, I'd say Edinburgh is going to be bursting. 3 Deltas, 4 Uniteds, Qatari Qatari Dreamliner, WestJet Dreamliner, and the Virgin 350. Man alive. And haven't we got the Hainan Airways Airlines? I'm guessing that'll be, what, 777 perhaps? Either which way, send me to Edinburgh, folks. I'm very receptive to that. Resident rounds, you were down at the Spotters Park on the Polder Ban on the 19th. You see, I just love it down there. You're right, it is top heavy with KLM, but I love Heathrow, and you can't but see British Airways at Heathrow, can you? Or Aer Lingus for that matter, and Ryanair in Dublin. But tell you what we could do, I'm just having a quick look, see, I think just want to test another piece of the kit while we're here. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just quickly check flight radar. Check mark's not going to be rendered a total buffoon. Oh, actually, I can see something not quite on finals yet. So we've got a Ryanair 737. Tell you what, let's just do it. So what I'm going to do, I've got some pictures which Ken has kindly shared with us, Ken Alloway that is, in the chat, of the cargo looks in 50th anniversary livery. Second thoughts, I'm going to wait until we've got the next plane in. It doesn't seem right to blast through something as good as that, because they are some cracking pics. Anyone that's ever seen it before will know what I'm talking about. Never seen it in person myself. Vislandia, I think, and Tony, Ken, Alibi, and anyone else that knows these things in more detail north of the border, I think pre-pandemic that might have been the case, but there's no question that I think post-pandemic Edinburgh is the busier of the two. What have we got going on there? Quite a few
planes transponding on the deck. So what we're going to do first. So this is the Lanzarote bound 737. Let's see how rapid this KLM is managing to taxi. Sorry, resident rounds, another KLM for your scrapbook. As folks will know, I've been Amsterdam twice now from Newcastle this year, and been on the 737 every time, both times. Hoping all the while for an Embraer 190, or in fact any Embraer. That sound tells you. By the way, anyone that's following the football results, using any sleep over it, because when you need another team to lose and you to win to stay up, you kind of say you've done it to yourself, haven't you, really? So just checking on our incoming 737 from Gran Canaria. Another minute or so out. Simon Kirby, you've just come to gloat, haven't you? Camera. How you doing, buddy? Just been talking about the football. We still get resident rounds, we still get the E2 from time to time. Although I've not seen one for a bit. Don't know if you're still in the chat, political bias. Ooh. That was in stealth mode. Proper stealth. I was even reflecting on my sins. So I reckon, folks, that's just about where the action tapers off. And certainly, other than that bit of glitching we encountered when the Air France...
Alibi confirms. Oh, hang on, alibi tells me...
Yeah, I've just seen that, the buffering message, folks, so I'm not ignoring that, I'm just trying to see what's occurring. I'm going to get my phone out in a jiff and just do a manual speed test on that. Certainly the frame rate dropped right off, which is a pretty sure sign the signal has moved, but with two sims I'm not understanding what's going on there. Yeah, folks, Deborah and anybody else, I'm definitely onto the glitch issue. If it doesn't clear, we'll probably look to draw it to the stream to an earlier conclusion, give me a chance to do a hot autopsy on it. Oh, British Airways on the move as well. And there was me saying that everything was working okay apart from that first round of glitchiness. So ATR 72 inbound. Chance to use the emojis. Not the buffering one, hopefully. Hopefully. Next departure off to Palma de Mallorca. Oop. No, false start. Jet starting up. Might be able to get a bit of that from this side. Anyway, so leave it slightly long here so I can just check something. Yeah, Melody, hot autopsy. Very much as in all sorts of things, you don't want to fiddle with too much because you just don't want to stop it altogether. But I am kind of curious why we would have had the glitching we had. And if it's the upload speeds are good here, I'll be even more curious. According to the box, I've dropped about 3% of the frames in the show so far, which is higher than usual. So something's wobbled something. Airways next out the door. Where are you? There you are. A320, ready to roll. There was a rush of departures around 5 o'clock. Where are we now? 20 to 5? So as long as signal plays okay. Alexandra Wood. Good afternoon, Alexandra. Got to ask, who won the Grand Prix? Fantastic, Max. Very good. I would peel off this for the ATR, but I just know it will start moving. Right, under the heading cake and eat it. We can have a little bit of this, can't we? This is being pushed along by the fuel tanker. As you know, I love watching the countdown. Stop. Bang on the money. As against banging on the front of the terminal building. Well, that sounds like an exciting race, Alexandra. Bit of rain, bit of sunshine. We've had the sunshine here without the rain, which is just how I like it. I'm just doing a quick speed test on my phone, folks. Bit of pre-hot autopsy. Staffen, Alonso, he's having a monster season. I've just started reading Gunther Steiner's book, Survive to Drive, is it? Play on the Netflix series. Anyway, pretty reasonable read. No, I'm not sure at all why our signal would have been wobbled, because just the SIM card speed alone would have been plenty. That's interesting. Deborah, so your husband had a bumpy Aer Lingus jaunt into Birmingham. You see, if I took Mrs. Plain Sailing Aviation on an ATR and she experienced that, I'd probably never get her onto a plane again. Alibi Embraer, lofty Embraer at that, 190 long range from Frankfurt, on finals. Standing by, buddy. Just spotted it on flight radar, just trying to pace the journey in. So, welcome to anybody that has recently joined our test stream. Why you ask why a test stream? Just because we've changed some bits of kit over the last week, and the encoder is pretty much with the camera front and centre of what we do. so it made sense to just get it out of the house and just check it all works, rather than going further afield and finding the same problem. We had an encoder swap earlier in the week because of an existing sound fault. Trouble is, the box I accepted, once I got it home, found a different fault on it, which has set a whole load of things into motion. Anywho, we now have a nice brand new one. So those of you that are UK based, hope none of you are working tomorrow. Of course, I suppose the upside, if you are, is getting the day off another time. Mad Matt, probably not in terms of international. We are international. Last weekend, obviously, it was Amsterdam and Dusseldorf. Can't claim jet lag, can I? No, I think that going that bit further is probably outside the budget for the channel. I have got some travel plans that I want to enact that might have some degree of overlap, but I wouldn't see that level of intercontinental travel being a regular feature. I think we're just too small a fish for that. I always take my hat off to Jerry at Big Jet. He goes off all over the hockey. Right, I can hear the Embraer. Rolls itself out, off down the dip.
I don't see
Anything else?
bearing down on us.
This could be that moment to share the photographs that our man in Alloway, Ken, has shared with us of the Cargo Lux 747-800 freighter. Absolute beauty. I'm just going to park this here for the minute. So there you go, folks. I just realised the overlay is not perfect with the screen, so you'll have to indulge me with that. I should have stretched full screen. Anyway, there you'll see it. Cargo Lux 747-800 Lima X-ray Victor Charlie Charlie, delivered to Cargo Lux in March 2012. The spirit of Cargo Lux. And what a beauty. What a beauty. There's no question, you see some great things at Prestwick, don't you? You really do. There we are, back at Newcastle. Ken's got some other pictures which I intend to share with you all as best I'm able. So some of them might be a struggle to share through community posts because of the aspect ratio restrictions. I'm going to put them all as a set on the Facebook page, and then I'm going to have a think about, is there a better way we can do this to involve others, because I appreciate Facebook, like Twitter, is not everybody's cup of tea. We'll do what we can. If we can do it through the community post, that's the easiest way, but I have found that problematic in the past. Let's take look see at our 190 long range. Agree with Nell, a fine looking plane. I think we've reflected, haven't we, in the chat that Embraer looks good in pretty much everybody's colours. Anyway, well done Ken, top snaps those, mate. Political bias, I don't know if you've got the sunshine that I did have, but I'm telling you now, the sky might be quite blue over there, but pretty overcast behind me, blocking out the sun, making it feel mighty cool. Tony McCall, feel free to post the link in the chat. I can't release your comment, I'll have to rely on one of the mods to do it for me, mate, but by all means put it in the chat. Rainer, just spotted your entry, mate. How you doing? I hope it all went well in the week. Yeah, Rainer's got all the good stuff happening there, I can see that. Well, that beer I bought myself at Dusseldorf, as you instructed me to with that super chat donation, it glided down. Partially because of the trauma of the experience with security, but honestly, it was just like nectar. Anyway, how are you bearing up? Are you away from hospital now for much longer? Aviation Adam, off on your hole soon. What do you think? Where are you going? I'm just going to rotate the camera a tidge. There's supposed to be some departures at 5 o'clock. We're still haggling with Mrs. Plain Sailing Aviation in terms of this year. We still haven't booked anything, and in fact it is a Jet 2 brochure that we've currently got out in front of us. Trouble when you leave it late, the dynamics start to tip away from you a little bit. There's always somewhere to go, but price of holidays now, you really want to make sure that you're getting what you pay for. Sunny Ibiza. Actually, Eddie, my son, who edits for the channel, he is also off to Ibiza. Not the same time as you. Somebody's pushing back over yonder. I think he's got Ibiza in July. So you'll see the Tomos, or was, Chewy as is now, Antalya 737 pushing back other side the terminal. Another 737 Max 8. Some nailed on sunshine there, I'm thinking. I'll tell you what I have spotted, and if anyone's in flight radar at the minute, they may have seen this one before. Just south of the airport, there is a United Kingdom National Police Air Service aircraft. It's another one of those NA, Leeds to NA jobs, a Vulcan Air P68R. Now obviously we're familiar with the police flying around in their helicopters, but aircraft? What do they use that for? Oh, Reiner, fingers crossed for you, buddy. Fingers crossed for you. Indeed, Ken Alloway, the Jaws theme. I'm still too dry from the screw up earlier on when I had to hightail it home and hightail it back. That reminds me, I probably ought to have a chug of water. Oh, that's better. Oh, hang on a minute. Simon Kirby's got info. Come on, Simon Kirby. What info might you have? Oh, Tony says they've been using the fixed wing for a while. 2 deployed in Glasgow during COP26, COP26. Oh, interesting. And added to by Aviation Adam. I suppose when you put it into that context, it kind of makes sense. I was thinking probably a little bit too narrow on that one. You know, the usual one with the chase a stolen car and follow the thieves with thermal cameras into the hedges or wherever else they run off to. Thanks, Alibi. I'll check that out later myself, Tony. Oh, Mad Matt says searching for missing people and the long car chases. Ah, big continuity, wouldn't it? Potentially. There you go. I'm looking at that, imagining some police commissioner who just wants to fly around rather than drive. I'm just getting too cynical. If only I'd cared to think about it. Anyway, why can't I see a comment from Simon Kirby? It's got me on my edge of my seat now. So that's the Antalya bound plane. I'm just going to have a quick look, see and remind myself what else was going at 5 o'clock. Well, perhaps I've got to the point now where I'm dreaming about movements. I don't think so. Let's have a look. So yeah, Jet 2 had a 737 that was due out at 5 o'clock, and Air France are due out at 5. The Jet 2 is going to be delayed half an hour. The Antalya plane that we are looking at the minute, the Tomos one, is no, it says here 1734. So it looks like they might not be in a rush. So we've hit one of those pain in the ass, pain in the backside. Pain in the backside, yeah, that's one. Let's just have a look at the hardware, see what signal speeds are like there. All's good. That's me trying to tempt fate. I'm alright tempting fate on a test. Like I say, I don't think that's got anything to do with the encoder, the trouble that we had. Just looking at Mad Man's story about the swapping of his car engine for a Merlin. Oh dear. I'll tell you what, was that a UK situation or Rolls-Royce engineer? I know Rolls-Royce have probably got overseas plants. Not sure we've got that many roads now that you'd fancy driving around at high speed on. Can't help myself, I'm just going to have a quick look, see as to what's occurring footy wise. Said I wouldn't. Well, half an hour in or thereabouts, and it's goalless for Leicester and goalless for Everton, which clearly suits Everton. Mad Matt, UK, very good. I suppose he'll be enjoying commuting to work on a bus pass then. Sounds like one of those jobbies where you get a total ban, doesn't it? Just going to rotate the camera, folks. Wasn't quite expecting the pause we have. Well, we've got a little tiddler heading our way. 2,600 feet from NA to NA, Cessna. Although the route it's taking suggests to me it's going to pass us by. Whether it flies north and loops round, who knows? Are you sure, Ken? I thought, I'm getting confused with this. I thought at 0-0, both ends round, I think Everton are okay. I think we're down. We're not equal on points, although we've got better goal difference. Ewan says the Danish Air Transport ATR will probably be taking the Newcastle team back later tonight. Operated by Eastern. Was it the Embraer they went out in yesterday, Ewan? Either which way, wouldn't you think, wouldn't you, last game of the season, you'd be wanting a night out in London, would you not? I think that's the way I'd probably want to go as a young 20-something. Well, that's all right then, Simon Kirby, as long as Forest are 1-0 up. And to be fair, Forest are on their deck chairs officially now anyway, aren't they? Ah, right, very good. Thanks, Ewan. What we really could do is something moving around, couldn't we? Where are we? 7 minutes past 5. The plane you're looking at is transponding away, but by the look of it they've got a flight plan that's not going to see them off till 1734. That's the position last I looked. I know Aer Lingus are due out 20 past, and the Air France hop I think was due out at 5. Keeping a watch on that, because I would have thought that would have shown in terms of pushback and turn. Oh, there's a thing, Ken Alloway. I could have sworn they got a couple more points on us. I thought they just had to match our result to send Leicester down. Yes, Simon, if you're saying you thought I'd be interested in your result, you're just so right. Oh dear, if there's one consolation for a lifelong Leicester fan, no disrespect to anybody in the chat who likes Derby County, but at least we'll not be playing you next season, however this plays out. Tribal pride and all the rest of it. Ooh! Hey! Barnes scores 1-up. Although I've got to be honest, Everton, I just don't see Bournemouth holding Everton. I just don't. But I know football's littered, isn't it, with strange results. Man, Matt, that's a nil from me, my friend. To be honest, I used to, since I've started doing the live stream, generally with all the prep and all the bits and pieces, it's harder to stay as plugged in. Ken's got it under live surveillance on Sky. The question is, Ken, is Leicester 1-0 up against the run of play, or deservedly so? Just a metro train keeping me on my marks. Yep, it's a couple of wheelie suitcases tazzing on. Not sure what that is. Like a shimmer, or whether they were hosing something down. Anyway, let's just see what's occurring. That must be KLM boarding. Getting used to the sound of my own voice in the headphones again. Okay, I'm just seeing glitching bad. Okay folks, let me just have a look at that. According to here I'm making the frame rate, but what you see is what you see, folks, so let's just what it looks. There's certainly nothing running at this end that should be inhibiting a signal. The same numbers I had last time. Let's see what you can see on my tablet. So Alexandra Wood confirming EasyJet from Bristol, 20 minutes out. Ken, yeah, I'm watching carefully with that. There isn't anything. I'm seeing a drop in rates now, momentarily. Tell you what I'm going to do. I've just dropped one of my sims off. And interestingly enough, that has pushed the speed up. That's counterintuitive. Oh, what's the value of a test? Right, so we're now just running on the one sim at the minute, which isn't the way I want to go going forward at all, but I have no clue why that will have happened, but that has made a marked difference at this end with the numbers. Oh well, let's see how we do for the last half hour, shall we, folks? So yeah, Ryanair have closed the door. I don't think KLM are going to be far behind them. Silence is me thinking. Sound of unlubricated cogs grinding away. I mean, there's nothing exceptional in itself with picking up a spot of buffering overseas, particularly when you get the throttling possibilities and all the rest of it. But here we usually get a good signal. Certainly since we've been using 2 sims. There's no question I've dropped one of them off, and for the most part the numbers look better. The speed tests I'm doing on my telephone are consistently high, and that's the same network as the sim that's in the encoder. Oh, watch this space. I think what we'll do when I close the stream down, I'm going to flip it over. I'll close the stream and then I'll do a separate test with the other sim. Won't torture you with that one. I'm expecting Ryanair to make a move. I think they'll be due. Just going to rotate the camera. So the Ryanair Alexandra, Riga, thank you very much. KLM, off to good old Amsterdam. I may have gone on record several times as saying, I love Amsterdam. Although to be fair, I'm sure it's fantastic in the city centre. But I've really only spent my time around the airport and down at the Polder Barn. Quite good fun on the train last weekend as well. Oh Ken, yes you're right folks. Yes, with please give us a like. I mean, to be fair, today's show was all about trying the kit out. Simple as that really. I mean, I've kind of come away with it's great to have my sound monitoring back, and the new box does all the things it should, but the buffering issue is now tickling me a little bit. But that's the nature of live streaming, I guess, grappling with problems. Or certainly trying to put them to bed. Just having a quick look to see where that EasyJet might be. Ah yes, 13 minutes it says. Tazzing along at 21,800 feet, 700 feet now, so it's well into its descent. And Airbus 320 Neo. Come on folks, let's put this plane on the road to Riga, I think we said, didn't we? So in terms of next show proper, still working through that one. Plan is to do something midweek. Not quite sure where that's going to sit. It'll be middle to latter half of the week. And then we've got something we're looking at for Saturday, if the weather plays nice with us. Something different. So stand by on that one, folks. UK based before you start to imagine it sounds a bit too exotic. Deborah Speller, absolutely fantastic, although I felt very guilty for physically not being there, but she seems to have forgiven me. Mrs. PSA and I, we do the grandparent care in the week, granddaughter. Getting that interference in my headset now. I've forgotten what that was like. Yeah, we look after the granddaughter in the week, God love her. She's not harbouring any resentment. A nice time was had by all. And she seems to have acquired the contents of Hamley's toy store. Thank you very much, Deborah. Mad Matt, that is I just look at your comment, mate. That is really kind of you, and indeed everybody who is here watching. The action's kind of dried up. As I say, the primary objective was going to be about just testing the kit out, which the main thing is I can keep the encoder. I'm satisfied that that's doing what it should be doing. A little bit of homework on the signal resilience issue, and we've got another piece of work we were starting to look at because we thought we'd have a little bit more time midweek, and that is to look at enhancing the sound a little bit further. Commentary sound as against the sound of the planes. Shotgun mic we've got plenty good for that, but I'm just mindful that if I move too far away from the mic, sound quality drops off. David Jordan, welcome back. We're still here at Newcastle. We are expecting the plane you are looking at to push back imminently. Let's just see if the tug's engaged. Sure it was last time we looked. Yeah. Just waiting for someone to tell them they can move. David Palfreyman, just spotted your entry into the chat. Welcome, mate. Hope you're having a good Sunday, making the most of this bank holiday weekend. Weather certainly has been pretty reasonable in my part of the world. Not quite t-shirt weather. Simon Kirby says half time, and we'll stay as it stands. Leicester will be staying up. Oh well. If I sound slightly sceptical, is because I think if you generally fail to cash out results over 38 games or 37 games bar today, I don't know, I'm there to be convinced. It's a long time since I've had so little confidence in a squad of players. So, welcome to anybody that has just joined the stream that doesn't know who I am. I'm Mark, your host for Plain Sailing Aviation. We're just doing a test stream to give we've just replaced our encoder, and we just want to check everything is hunky-dory before we deploy it to more advertised programming. Alexander Elliott, good afternoon to you, Alexander. So on air till about 10 to 6, literally when the scheduled flights drop off, we'll naturally draw it to a close. Well, at the minute it kind of, I'm thinking KLM might be going first here, you know. Stairs are gone. Somebody must want to push back. You've got the, oh dear, where did we say this was? Antalya? Nearly forgotten about these folks. Chance for a quick spot of refreshment. It's just occurred to me, you've got a snack bar with your indulgence. I'm just going to scoop it up. Be prepared for some inbound rustling. Do apologise. I've suddenly gone famish. Looks like KLM are moving, is it? Or was that an optical illusion? Clear case of wishful thinking on Mark's part. Okay, buffering again. Thanks, Mad Matt. Reinstating the second sim. I dropped it off because it did seem to be bonded, dragging me down, but something's not quite adding up. No tempo on the forecourt, is there? So we stand poised for some action, folks. Sorry that it's not flowing. No, Mad Matt, I hadn't noticed the B1s are back at Fairford. definitely not shorts weather. These are hardy fellows, aren't they? Our next incomer is about 8 minutes out. Our Bristol EasyJet A320. You can hear the sound of an engine running up. Almost inclined to believe it's this one. Runway check just being completed to my right. Looking at Aviation, Adam's comment, ATC brake. I'm thinking it must have been back in January we had, when I was travelling from here to Heathrow, my outgoing flight was delayed for exactly that reason. ATC brake. They were short staffed, and I'm not saying that's today's story. Oh, I can see some more action. Jolly Green Giant's lawnmower. He's pinging away as well. So who's moving first? Well, law of life, isn't it? The one that I pan away from. Did we say this one was bound for Riga? So, thanks for bearing with it, folks. Action went through a unexpected fallow spell, but looks like we're up and running. An EasyJet A320 somewhere near finals. This Ryanair to Riga. There is also a KLM 737 due to move imminently. So we've got that one. And there's the Jolly Green Giant's lawnmower. And Alexandra Wood has just confirmed the Jet 2 to Alicante has just pinged as well, which I'm gonna guess is that one. I've not looked yet on, yeah, that one. It's all building to a crescendo, folks. So last 20 minutes or so. Thank you for sticking with me. Yeah, Aviation Adam, that would be the explanation. Well done. Either which way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I make us 5 departures, and Air France are just pushing back. 6 departures, at least 1 incomer. We should get a nice little finale, folks, to reward your very kind patience. Finlandia, you're right. Traffic jam imminent here at Newcastle International. Still, that'd be nice. It means we've got tempo through to show's close. It's almost like some sort of standoff here. Planes all sort of, Aer Lingus, the ATR is facing the Ryanair, neither moving. Jet 2 pushing back, obscuring the Chewy Antalya flight. and then probably the Air France hot, the Embraer 190 will come steaming through the middle. See, the breezes remain pretty constant. Yeah, I just appreciated that EasyJet's been in a hold while things have been closed up here. Doing nice little loops. Out near Bishop, Auckland. For some obscure reason I wanted to say Storford. Got the emojis out. The jolly green giants in town. Reminds me, job for this evening I think before I turn in, get the mower out. Ken Alloway, I've just spotted your super chat. Mate, very generous, very kind, don't know what to say. Pina colada, eh? Listen, I'm just appreciative for your time. Thank you so much. That's above and beyond, mate. Above and beyond. Especially on top of a gifted membership. Thank you. Next up on this conveyor belt of talent, checking out those emojis. Vislandia, Ryana, Alexandra Wood, Ken Alloway, Deborah Speller, Layla Bergman. Well listen, I can say, looking at Ken's last message, the support you all give, it's just fantastic. Eddie and I are massively appreciative. It's one of those things, live streaming, when it all goes well, it kind of looks after itself, and it's great to share the pleasure. When you get the bumpy moments along the way, it's the support you get that really motivates you to get on top of it. Sun's beating down nicely again. Peel away to show you the queue forming up. Got a dent. David Palfiman, I've just seen your super chat as well, my friend. Thank you so much. Again, above and beyond. I was jotting it in my book. You just know that the planes start moving. Anyway, I'm just going to do what I said I wasn't going to do. Regulars of the show know that I'm full of that. So there's the queue forming. Anyway, think it must be about right.
Layla Bergman.
What can I say, Layla? As with David, Ken, honestly, above and beyond. Thank you so much. Hope I can read my handwriting. Dr. Mark. Oh, Michelle, just spotted you. How you doing? No Eddie today, just Mark. Eddie too important to come out on the test streams. That'd be going. I thought that was my EasyJet.
Which is at heading on the wall, so not far away.
So next up, oops, bit exuberant from yours truly. Less exuberance, more graph. This long-awaited Antalya flight, which I think was due out before 5 o'clock. Just checking my own record here. 4 to 5.
Leads 2 down, apparently.
Yep, thank you. That's one less to fret about, Simon. No disrespect to anyone that supports Leeds, but I didn't think they were going to dig their way out of it any more than I thought we'd dig our way out of it. I still can't believe Luton are in the Premier League. I can remember them, as some of you in the chat will do, being in the old Division 1 back in the 70s, I think. I think even Carlisle were in the top division around that time. For some reason it sticks in my head. Probably something like 75, 76, I don't know. Wherever the year's gone. Oh, here's my EasyJet. Hopefully that's not wobbled our signal. Oops, sorry folks. Got to on the old switch. So, we've got the Max 8 just about to line up. Let's have that. To be followed by Air France and Jet 2. Alexandra Wood. you're right, he was, the late Eric Morecambe was a celebrity backer, if you want to call it that, of Luton. You're right. Simon Kirby, I don't think you're going to be disappointed, mate. To be honest, I thought Coventry City were probably going to be the ones that made it. So, Air France, next to go. David Jordan, no I didn't. I have seen that depart here before. Did it depart Newcastle and I've missed it? That would be impressive. Ryanair, excuse me, departing flight for Krakow. Also on the way back, so 1, 2, 3, 4 departures I make it. That will bring the show to an orderly conclusion. Yeah, so I've missed the air ambulance depart, is that what you're saying? Looks like we've got a BizJet arrival then. QA Aviation Embraer Phenom 300. I'll peel away from that momentarily, folks. So next show, just to cover that one, and I mentioned it earlier, Saturday is when we are definitely next planning to be out. We've got something different to do for you on Saturday, weather permitting and all that. More details in due course, but we are looking to do a midweek show, middle to back end of the week. We'll be putting a bit of effort into some other bits and pieces in between time. Some upgrades we're looking at around sound. And of course I need to get to the bottom of the signal issues we've had today if I can. As always though, we'll put a community post out so you know what we're up to. So make sure you've got that notification bell hit, selected, pressed, ticked, whatever. Okay, keeping that conveyor belt of talent on the move. Our Alicante bound Jet 2. Doris Petzers. Good evening to you, Doris. Hope you're keeping well, buddy. Alright, David Jordan, the helicopter came up the coast. Roger that. It wouldn't have surprised me if I'd managed to miss it. Oop. I've been ghosted by Scotland's finest. So as soon as that vacates, I'm guessing the Jet 2 737 gets to move.
Oh, hang on a minute.
Toffee's 1-0 up. Silence it was in. Islandia, that shortbread express was a bit too express for yours truly. Yeah, David, we're having an Embraer fest. Although we're going to have a couple of 737s to wrap the show up with. Should be 3 of them actually. Me warming my hands up. Now that sunshine has kind of dialed itself down, it's like turning your central heating down 3 degrees. Just gives you the shivers. Just laughing away to myself. I'm not sure what that emoji is, Islandia. On account that with glasses on I'm still squinting. Bit of a thing, isn't it? Another plane on finals. Air Charter Scotland, Embraer Praetor 600. I better get the camera ready for it, folks, because like the last one, it kind of zoomed out of nowhere. As I often say, shooting this position, it's a bit like clay pigeon shooting. Incoming from the wall. Well, the Alicante flight is now moving. backtracking or wide arc? No? Oh. Thanks, Simon Kirby. All in vain. I really didn't think Bournemouth were going to pull anything. This is the 737 to Krakow. Which ought to be followed by the KLM 737 as our final plane of the show, I think. Ooh, let's get that BeezJet scooting across the Praetors. 600, did we say? That is a dinky little thing, isn't it? Classy. This is unusual. The Embraer 300 Phenom come this way round. This is going to have to take a long route round to the business jet park. It's just something else to look at though. Well folks, I hope you've all got something nice for tea. Maybe you've already eaten during the show, but you had something nice. You know what? I've just got the first smell of aviation fuel during this show. As I always say, absolutely divine. And off behind the undergrowth, back out the other side, with that optical illusion that kind of looks like it's burying itself into the lawn. Right, I make this our last plane. It must be over time, I'm guessing, but we don't like to leave out on the table if we can help it. So just catching the chat up, sorry if I've missed anybody. I didn't do it on purpose, you know that. Oh, Shredderhead, I hadn't seen your entry in the chat, so my apologies. Hope you're doing well. Alexandra says Leeds have scored. A bit like Leicester's efforts really, too little too late. David asked me my favourite plane. It's probably going to be a 747, if I'm honest. But, oh, Lufty might be stealing the limelight. I'm fickle though, me, you see, because I do like the A350 as well. I don't know. It's like liveries. It's a livery question, isn't it? In a different way, shape or form. I think that's what I love about aviation and plane spotting. But the 747, you know, it is a plane that if you told me that was here tomorrow, I'd have to bring myself back down here to stream it. And if I wasn't streaming, I'd be down here to look at it. But I reckon folks who know me well would say, yeah, but if that was a 350, the answer would be the same. If it was an A380, the same. And we could go on. But there is something about the 747, definitely. Thinking back to when I first started spotting planes, watching them coming in over my grandparents' house, lots of the old long hauls and 747, Pan Am colours, Air India, you name it really. Maybe that's the connection. Not so much the planes you like now, but the planes that link you to the past. Michelle Johnson, Michelle, there is absolutely no need. That is just too generous, too kind. You are such a friend to the channel. I don't know what to say. I give you a hug. Michelle, thank you so much. You are a great friend to the channel. I'm absolutely blown away. Michelle, legendary. Absolutely legendary. Oh, you're such a great group. I was going to do this test in private because at one time, and I thought, nah, better off sharing the action with friends. And I'm blessed, really blessed. Yeah, straight ahead. 747, the doggy's doodah, the Bizzo. And it's a plane, there's lots of planes I've not flown on, but I would really like to make that one of those that I do before I stop doing stuff like that. You kind of get the collywobbles, don't you? I think from a freight point of view, it's still going to be in the skies for some time. But for passengers, I think Lufty are, correct me in the chat if I'm wrong folks, the last major user of the 747 for passenger services. And how long they'll keep doing that for, I don't know. I think last I looked they were still throwing the 340 as well. You'd be thinking somewhere along the line that economics would trump sentiment. Oh dear, Michelle, don't know what to say. Simon said it for me. Awesome. I was floundering. I'm reaching for a drink of mineral water. You are such good people on this show. So, more than a bit perplexed. What's going on here? I mean, you'd be thinking they're in no rush to go anywhere. Although it looks like the Lufty's just been unclipped. So maybe his Lufty is going to show for us first. Where are we at? 6:05. Yeah, David Jordan, I've seen the C-17 Globemaster here a few times, although not recently, to be fair. So I'm due a bit of luck on that side of things, I think. So if you've just joined us, you're in the latter stages of our test broadcast stream, testing our new encoder. That seems to be working okay, although we have hit some signal issues that we hadn't been expecting. Shredderhead, I always think it's a happy dolphin, the KLM. Although I reckon you'd be forming a frown, wouldn't you, if you're just sitting there waiting to roll. Especially if you're on a weekend break. Is this another ATC break? You're right, Michelle. The aircraft, the spotting community on this channel, it motivates me each and every day to do what we do. We got lucky there, very lucky. Sorry folks, that's me developing a cold. I mean, it would have been quite ludicrous to have come here in a coat. It was just too nice. Just as an aside, last time I streamed from Newcastle, I did come down in a coat and it was quite a sunny day. And afterwards, by the time I'd got back to the car, I kind of passed this pub car park. There was a couple of young ladies having a cigarette break out front. They must have thought I was some kind of fugitive. Some bloke dressed in a coat on a summer's day, or sunny day, dripping in sweat. Okay. Sorry folks, I thought I could hear the sound of something on approach. Nothing showing. Doris, you are a rascal. It kind of reminds me, anyone that's used to watch Strictly Come Dancing when the late Bruce Forsyth was the host, and he'd sort of say to each couple after they'd done their fandango that they were his favourite couple. Although this couple of jets here are definitely perplexing me. Michelle, I think I probably did look furtive. I mean, there was no godly reason to be wearing a coat, and I've got a tripod bag on my back, my broadcast box, my fold-up table, my rucksack. Looked like I'd come away from a smash and grab, probably. GRWW. Hello, my friend. All the way out there in Dallas. How you doing? We're just at the back end of a test stream. Grateful for your time in joining us. We're just waiting, hopefully, to catch some action, which looks like we got. Last two planes of the show gone a little bit longer, because obviously we don't like to leave anything on the table. Well, anyway, Doris, we love having you with us. I always think of you as our person in Nicosia. And you are the living reminder, when I'm moaning about the weather here from time to time, that the weather is probably beating it down there. I think between you and Rainer and the Berlin sunshine. Although, when you look at that lofty fuselage, plenty of rays beating back off that. Yeah, you're right, Michelle, the windsock's been pretty constant actually at that. Because it's a pop-up, I never bothered doing any pre-show weather checks. I thought, I'm just going to go for it. Which is why I'm shivering now, wishing I had bought a coat or a second fleece or something. Mind you, of course, anyone that's joined the show in the latter stages wouldn't realise that we ran late, we started late, because I arrived here and hadn't got the right camera mount. So basically the plate that attaches the camera to the tripod, I'd still got the plate from the overseas stream last weekend, which fits with my travel tripod, which is lovely for that. It's no blinking use whatsoever for today's tripod. So straight back up the A1. You see, Simon Kirby, it was almost inevitable, wasn't it? West Ham pulling one back. I suppose it takes all the suspense out of it. No rush here, is there? Need to look at this in Brer 190 long range. Usually, Michelle, I'm with you, I'm all about the layers. I tend to like these acrylic fleeces with a Lucky Leicester shirt on underneath it. Doris, I'm naturally a happy bean. Definitely. Life's just too short to be otherwise. Well, there's no rush back to Frankfurt, is there? What I was expecting to see is the KLM 737 to Amsterdam, which is obviously running quite a bit late now. Is still sitting on stand, all ready to go, bleeping away, but I rather thought it would be following this lufty to line up. I think what we'll do, because I don't want to be showing you no action for any protracted period of time, if by the time the lufty is gone, if the KLM isn't moving, we'll just make the lufty the final plane of the show, if folks are okay with that. Oh, Bournemouth are bringing on their attackers, are they? One can only marvel at what that might involve. GRWW, yes, Newcastle is less busy. In UK terms, it's around 12th, 13th busiest airport. Edinburgh would be about, I'm forgetting my numbers now, around 6th busiest. I'm a bit calorie light at the minute, so I could be mistaken, but no, for certain, yeah, Newcastle much less busy than Edinburgh. So when we stream from here, we normally look for an aggregation of movements, so we've got some reasonable continuity. Of course, then what happens on the day is life intervenes and things run late and all that malarkey. Hey up, Audrey McDonald! Audrey, how goes it? What a spot of overtime. Just winding down with this departure. Possibly a KLM 737 to follow, but if it's not shaking a leg imminently, we'll have to take the fact that it's not in that much of a rush. But Audrey, I hope Foxy's doing well. To be fair, Audrey, that's Foxy's job at the minute, isn't it? Being a bit of a handful. Yep, we're rolling. Not rolling with conviction, are we? In your own time. Frankfurt. Right, let's make a call on this You'll see the haze off the engines. So what we'll do, we'll leave the camera on it for the minute. Let me have a quick delve into the chat. I think the thing is, just looking at Audrey and her experience with Foxy, I think that's the task at hand, isn't it? I'm thinking back many years ago when we had our Whippet. She was an absolute menace as a pup, but once we'd settled her, absolutely fantastic job. Proper heartbreak when we lost her. Oh, Bez54 just spotted your entry into the chat. Don't worry, Bez, this is a test stream. I'm grateful for everybody supporting us in the way that they have. So, Bez, do not worry. I've got my new encoder, you see, that arrived yesterday. So it made sense to get down here and do a test with it. So yeah, thank you for joining us. Right, Vislandia, see you next time out. I will put a community post out telling you what we're up to next. We are planning to stream Saturday, details to follow, and something second half of the week. I don't think this plane's gonna move, so I'm just going to flip the camera around, folks. We can go to the plane. I always like to close out the camera. Ooh, blimey. Just tripped myself up. Not used to having headphones after these weeks with not being able to monitor my own sound. So listen, thank you one and all. Awesome support. I mean, it's just nice to be able to test in company. Son's done the bizzo. You've been fantastic company. I really would like that plane to move before we go, but I'm mindful that could easily be 6:30, 7 o'clock. Well, it's nearly 6:30 now, isn't it? I just want to say a massive thanks to each and every one of you that's watched the stream. A big shout out to our moderators, Ken Alloway, Alibi58, Nell W, and Alexandra Wood. Thank you, all four of you. Awesome stuff. As I say every stream, and it's not just said for effect, modding no easy thing, and time commitment being what it is. But of course, each of you that's watched the show have given us that. Special shout out as well to Ken for the gifted membership, which has gone to Arthur Clark. David Palfreyman, Ken, Layla and Michelle, all very generously super chatting us, absolutely above and beyond. You know, I didn't put the show on today with any expectation other than perhaps a small number of people might drop by and watch. At least I'm not on my own then. Just have a quick look see in the chat. Okay, UK heroes, been a pleasure to be with you. Look forward to catching you next time out. Anything from me here? GRWW, you have a great time as well, my friend. Look forward to catching up with you soon. Same with Mad Matt UK, not up. Oh dear. Thanks, Rainer, for your kind words. I'm sorry if I've missed you, it's streaming by me. Anyway, by the by, thank you one and all. Watch out for the community post. This plane's not going to move, is it? So I'll see you next time. Take care.